Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today I have a wonderful match here. It is a 5v5 custom match on the most amazing and beautiful Necroxus map generator. So let's go ahead and get this party started by introducing our players and teams here, starting with Team 1 up here to the northwest corner and ending with Team 2 down here in the southeast corner. Let's go ahead and start with the first player on player 1, which is Luker. He is going first land as an Aeon in Stitch Blue. He is the highest rated player in the game at 2,000. In the rear guard air slot here for Team 1, we have Pepe's. He is going first land in Chevy Crimson as an Aeon. And again, first land, most likely going second air. Of course, he is in that rear guard air slot. To his southeast, we have favorite Espe going first land as a Cybern in Royal Purple. Continuing on eastward, we have Latrot. He's going first land as an Aeon as well as Luca here. And he is in Royal Blue going first land. Probably second land, maybe second air, but most likely second land. And last but not least here for Team 1 in Ruby Red, we have Cocky. He is going first land as a UEF, and he will probably go second land as well. On Team 1 side of things for racial makeup, we have 2 UEF, 2 Aeon, and 1 Cyber. No Seraphim Tech available to Team 1, so no experimental bombers, no YOLOs, and no Zooies. Let's go ahead down here for Team 2, starting with the Snow White player here of Koleriker Klaus. I'm going to call him Klaus, because that first part of his name is very interesting to pronounce. He is going first land, second air as a Cybern. Very interesting play. He is pretty far forward, but he is going air first. Maybe he wants to be a little more aggressive in the air play with those early bombers. To the southeast corner in the rear guard air slot here for Team 2, we have Mr. Death already on the move. He's going first land, second air in Tropical Ocean Blue. To his west, also on the move, we had Kaiser Wilhelm the first of his name. He is going first land, probably second land at some point. Maybe he'll go second air, but most likely second land. Again, he is a UEF going first land, second land as well. And continuing on westward in Batman Gray, we have Wackle Contact. He's going first land, second land, third land, fourth land, all land, every day, all day. And he is on the move to the middle. Again, he is UEF and the Batman Gray player. And last but not least here for Team 2, moving on westward in green, as his name would suggest, he is Green Submarine. As he is going first land, second land, third land, probably land all day here. And again, he is an Aeon in Emerald Green. Team 2 side of things for racial makeup, we have 1 Aeon, 1 Cybern, and 3 UEF. So Team 2 also has no Seraphim, so there are no Seraphim represented here in this game. Apologies to those who like the Seraphim faction. I like some of their units, not all of them, but some of them. Obviously, for the regulars of the channel, you'll know which ones I'm talking about. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The Experimental Bomber is a favorite of mine. In terms of reclaim still left on the field, as of 3.5 minutes, we have 7,230 is what I saw. Probably around 8 or so, just looking at the reclaim already on the field. Maybe 9. It is kind of hard to tell this early on, of course. Let's go ahead and look at where our players are going. Well, they're starting to form a central line here. We have a couple of units on an escort attack run here with this little Snoop. Probably going for this little engineer and this mass extractor. It will probably kill the engineer. It is on a radar mission, going for some early intel, but it will get shot down pretty quickly. It does get found out, of course, but I think that Striker might be in striking distance of that radar system. Kills it. The Mantis kills the Snoop, and I think the Striker will kill the Mantis, so the Striker will get out of there with a kill. And we have a drop here with a couple of engineers and a couple of mech marines. They kill the Mantis, and they're going to keep moving forward. Where are they going? They're going to, I don't know. I don't think Cocky has an idea where he really wants to go. It's a pseudo-ghetto gunship with these mech marines firing. They're going in circles, trying to be all, fancy-dancy, trying to do some spinning tricks. But we have a air gun nearby that will start to whittle away on the hit points. The mech marines start to fire on that air gun. Air gun's still in range, doing lots of damage. Dropped it all the way down into the yellow. Wilhelm just sitting here taking the shots. It's going to build a T1 anti-air gun. And the transport will keep moving around, but there are a couple of interceptors nearby. They are going to kill the transport. They don't get that mass extractor. Unfortunately, they got one mass extractor. It did eat up a little bit of the APM for a couple of players here for Team 2, and obviously the player of Cocky. But, you know, he's trying to slow down the enemy on this eastern side. More units here to the west here for Team 2, both from Wilhelm and Wackel. Wackel taking out a couple of outer mexes for Team 1. Let's look at ecos fairly quickly. Well, you know, not a whole lot. Team 1 is behind by about 10 or so mass a second. Not a considerable amount. We already have a gun speed upgrade going here for Letrat. He'll probably go for, yep, that was going to say. He's probably going to go for range. And then maybe he'll go advanced range, but we will see. Usually it's about 10, 12 minutes usually when they go for the second one. We'll have to see. Green Submarine doesn't care if there's a Aurora nearby. He's still going to build his mass extractor, get that mass. Only takes about 18 to 20 seconds. I think it's 18 seconds is what a viewer told me in a comment, I think a couple days ago, maybe a week ago. Can't remember. Time kind of flies sometimes. But Green Submarine will deal with these Aurora. The Aurora are targeting the mechs. The Aurora will actually kill the mechs. One more shot, and there it is. So maybe that was enough time to recoup the losses. Who knows? But isn't going well. We have a push here from Favorite Esbay. I think I'll call him Favorite. He's getting into the interior of Team 2's front line, but it's not going to go super far. They might get one more max, but the Mantis nearby gets killed off. A couple of strikers nearby still throwing pod shots at these Mantis. Another striker comes in. Actually, it's Aurora this time, and they'll deal with that last Mantis here for Team 1. Team 2's Snow White player of Klaus. I almost said his first part of his name and then went like, oh yeah, I can't really say that, so I'm calling him Klaus. He is going to push forward, actually push against this force incoming here from Cocky. Cocky being, well, I'm not going to say cocky, but trying to push his opponent back. Apologies for that. I had a little phlegm in my throat there. But Letrat will push forward on this position. There is a transport just kind of hanging out. That will die. That's very disappointing there. And gun damage range going down for Kaiser Wilhelm, the first of his name. And T2 going here for Cocky. He is a UEF. Very sensible move here. Going to get some triads. Going to get some buzz kills to secure this eastern side. And, of course, some shield emplacements as well. Gun damage range also for Wackel. So Team 2's UEF players are going to be a lot more aggressive with their comms than Team 1. Letrat does have the range and speed on his comm, but the nearby units are going to start to force him back. Mr. Death doesn't have any upgrades on his comm, so he's going to start facing that issue here pretty soon. He's dropped below 9,000, same here as Letrat, and so Letrat will come out ahead. Kaiser Wilhelm has finished the upgrade and will now try to push with his units. Units from Klaus have actually cut west and will now go after these perimeter mexes here for is that Letrat? Yeah, that is Letrat. Luker's on the west. And run into some units here from Cocky that have moved into counter attack. A couple of these Lobos trying to go after this lonely little Mantis. Mantis stops moving. That's very bad for any units under artillery fire, because if you move, that thing will hit you, and it does, and kills it right out. And a lot of probing attacks, a lot of attacks to kind of just buy time, essentially. To the east, though, that push was definitely a distraction, and now Klaus has pushed against this eastern side. There's really nothing to defend these units here to the northeast. There is a plasma gun, actually plasma cannon, excuse me. It is a T1 point defense. So this will deal with a lot of these units. There's one artillery. It will kill it eventually, but a lot of these Mantis will fall to the PD. You can see it kills them off fairly quickly, especially because all of the Mantis are not grouped up. We'll kill almost two more of them, and they will avoid that position. The comm of Cocky will come in to try to cut off these units. Some of them will escape, but I don't think they'll be long for this world here in the northeast. to the middle once again. We have Kaiser Wilhelm trying to shove the Calm of Latrot back. Remember, he does have the gun and range and has T2, so he can start spamming up some triads and some shields to help assist with this push northward, using his units pretty much as a shield to ensure that the triad finishes. This will be in range, and so he'll be able to use it to force back Latrot fairly heavily, or at least a considerable distance. He wants to probably at least go for this group of mechs here. That would be my goal if I was Kaiser. Deny some eco here for Team 1 and just slow their advancement in that game. Start getting these mechs on the front line. He's already starting to build a wall. He's taking some lead from one of the U.S. presidents and builds a wall on his, well, in this case it's the northern border, but in other cases it is the southern border. ASF's grouping around the Calm of Mr. Death for Team 2. Don't know what that's about, but wouldn't be surprised to see those those interceptors from Wacko given over to maybe Mr. Death to kind of marker them a little better. Units still keep pushing. Triads forcing back Latrot once again. So it's just looking like Latrot cannot make any progress here going southward. And yeah, the PD creep is real. And this is starting to form a layered defense here for Team 2, ensuring they have multiple fallback points. Well, I mean, they are right next to each other, essentially, but they do allow a layered defense. T1 radar will give him a nice view of the map here. It's not a lot, but it is a considerable amount, allowing those PD to fire fairly accurately and at full range. To the west, more movement here to the west here from Luca and Green Submarine. Green Submarine is the highest rated player here for Team 2. He is short stacking at about 200 ranking points, which isn't a considerable amount, but it is a 2,000 versus an 1,800. So Green Submarine and Luca trying to vie for killing one another, because taking out the highest rated player of the other team is always a good move. 4 triads are now built, and he's just going to keep building them. Team 1 has to have a response to this. Maybe get some Janus, Nothif. Actually, there's no Nothis because there's no Seraphim. Maybe some Strat Bombers or something. But T3 has been completed for Pepe's, and T3 has been completed for Mr. Death. So both teams have access to T3 air tech. I wouldn't be surprised to see T3 land at least at some point here in the next couple of minutes. We have some Obsidians building here. At least I think those are Obsidians. Maybe those aren't disruptors. I think that's a T3 unit. But again, more units starting to group up here on this eastern side. The middle's kind of just, there's no definitive lane. It's just whatever. I mean, you can kind of call this like bot lane and top lane and mid lane kind of thing, but it's all kind of just free floating. There's no hard defined points. Calm of Lucre taking out these PD emplacements, and we'll go after the intel installation here fairly quickly. Calm of Green Submarine does fall behind. Might want to start building up some PD to help deal with a lot of these T2 Blazes. Blazes are fairly a good unit to build for T2 for the Aeon, whereas they have a rapid fire solution very similar to the Ilshis of the Seraphim. And of course you mix in some Obsidians in there and it makes it very difficult. We had a bombing run of some sort here from Team 2. Yep, it is a Strat Bomber. Interceptor's called in. Another T2 Mass Extractor goes down. ASF's protecting that bomber. But there's now an ASF here for Mr. Death. Bomb gets dropped, going after those those P-gens, takes out 2 of them. Not a huge issue for Mr. Death. He has built his T3, so that will mitigate a lot of that damage for his energy generation. But now here on the eastern side here for Team 2, position is starting to fold here for Team 1. His units are not in the correct place. He's over here to the east. He has his T2 PD, but that is it. And now this forward position will start to fall. The intel would be a good thing to grab right after. Artillery raining in all the time. The artillery has literally, well, there it goes. I was like, it has 1 hit point. Please shoot it. And the Rhino does do so. Does look like the Calm of Kaiser Wilhelm, will fall back. There is a couple of PD that were started to be built, but they were taken out. Looks like Oblivions are starting to force them back, as well as missile launchers. So Team 2's player of Kaiser will have to build some buzz kills to deal with that. And a push here to the south keeps going here for Lucre, but Lucre now coming against Green Submarine with a bunch of his own units. He does have the shield and the Aeon Sniper Com. Doesn't have the advanced range, but has 2 of the 3 upgrades. Has the regular range. And now the units are focusing down Green Submarine. His shield is falling fairly quickly. His hit points will fall that much quickly right after his shield is gone. A Harbinger does appear. We'll start dealing with a lot of these blazes. The shields will fall as well. There's Obsidians mixed in there. Good to see that from Luker. And now there's even a shield here from Green Submarine. And now Luker will fall back. Units here from the west starting to push against this side as well. And units here from Wacko will come and assist. But get pushed off by Favorite here. It does look like this western side, not eastern, western side will start to fall. Green Submarine looking to be like, I gotta start pushing back. He does have T3 assault bots here in the form of these Harbingers, and he has a couple of shields as well inbound. T1 PD has been built up as well. Engagements constantly, but there is a Titan very effective at taking out T1 units. Not in large numbers, of course, but you can see just how fast they fire, and they deal a decent amount of damage to them. These units to the west are going to start moving in, and it pretty much will force Luker back just in time for Green Submarine to get a much needed breathing room and break from the onslaught that is Luker. To the east, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Not really a huge push from either players. They're just deciding to eco up. I do like the spreading out of intel, even in the back line, just ensuring that they have, secondary intel installations, multiple T2 intel installations as well for Team 1. I mean, you can see there's 3 of them and a couple of forward ones for Luker. Team 2 not really focusing on intel. They don't even have a T2 on the front line. Probably either this one or this one would be the best one. Probably this one, just considering a lot of the push is coming from this western side. Green Submarine decides to control K. I don't know. Let's pause fairly quickly so we can read the chat. Looks like FaF has air over me, gets a flat, I guess still gonna lose versus Luker, I guess me. So in essence, I'm behind on air. Die to stalemate. Luker will ram our our poop from the left. I have T3 spam at left, but when I die, I will blow up a lot. Yeah. Looks like he had some connection issues. That's always disappointing here, especially when he was actually going after Luker. That has gotta hurt. And he wasn't going to kill him outright. There were a lot of obsidians and shields next to him. But that has got to hurt. He was, starting to push him back. But, yeah, it does look like Team 2 will suffer because of that. Obviously, you lose a player to connection issues. That's worse than losing a player to, like, being just killed off. Because at least, you died from natural causes. And instead of this, like, not otherworldly, but just the outside the game issues versus inside the game kind of thing. It's always disappointing, but it does happen and always unfortunate. Healy West here, it does look like Wacko will pick up the slack here from the death of Green Submarine and will attempt to hold Luker. He is not looking super well. He does have 3 ranks of veterancy, 28 hit points a second, doesn't have a shield, doesn't have the advanced range. Probably should upgrade one of those 2 things. But there are some of these T2 Oblivion turrets as well. So he will just kind of think about that, do a double take just to ensure that he doesn't just overextend too much to the west and the to the east. I keep flipping my directions for some reason. To the east and the middle, it's pretty much base wars. It has been in the middle for a while, but now it's a severe amount. Both players just deciding to build a bunch of shields and artillery. We even have missiles? No, it's just artillery. No missiles here for the eastern side. Still land engagements here to the west. We have a couple of broadswords built here for Pepe, so they're looking to take out Wacko if he is vulnerable. There's not a lot of flak here, though it does look like that is prime opportunity to take him out. Luker will fall back not unfortunately, but it's probably a good idea. He is at 18 minutes in the game. You're thinking about, strat snipes. You start thinking about ways for your comm to die. And if you're that far forward, it's a lot easier, especially if you have a lot of units here on Team 2 that are T3. You have missile launchers and you have these Titans, of course. Wouldn't be surprised to see some Percivals at some point. Of course, there were Harbingers being built at some point. Yep, they're still being built as well. Shield going on the way for Wacko. Wants to ensure that his comm survives a couple of hits at least. Down the middle goes a spy plane. The ASS will deal with that, but we'll get a nice vision of most of the base here for Team 1. And I have noticed with the placement of the plays, they are fairly grouped up together. So if one base falls, let's say the old base for Green Submarine, Wackles is very much under threat. It's not a, okay, now I have to travel halfway across the map again to get to another player. It's, oh, it's like right next door. I can just easily just walk my units through it kind of thing. So something for our players to think about. Missiles deal with that artillery emplacement, that clink hammer. They will target the shields next. One more shot from a missile will do it. And it misses. It just drops fairly shortly. We'll save a couple of these triads and T1 plasma cannons. Definitely unfortunate here for Team 2, but there's just so many missiles, it really doesn't matter. The shield will fall once again. Building up more T1 PD, trying to just stave off this incoming threat. But there's just constant, I was going to say Duke, but Gunther fire raining down on this position here for Cocky. Cocky will probably have to fall back. Another push here without the calm of Luker, and this is only going to go Team 2's way. Maybe they'll lose a couple of Team 1 units and a couple T3 as well, but this army here that's only T1 and T2 with a cup, like one Harbinger in it, will not be able to push on this western side. So Team 2 will get that small victory here for now, while the shield for Wackle does keep moving up in progression. We are at 20 minutes so far. If you've been enjoying the game, please like and comment down below who you think is going to win at the current time. My bet, as a caster, I try to stay impartial, but in terms of map control, Team 2 is definitely getting the better end of the deal, especially with this push to the east. But when you get pushed in on all sides, you have to develop a lot of PD, a lot of shields, and that can save you later on in the game. So it's a double-edged sword of, do you want your opponent to waste resources on units you can easily kill, or relatively easily kill, or do you have them build a bunch of shields that could prevent you from going Arty rush, or going for maybe even a T4 like a Maver or a Scathis, or even a YOLO. There's no YOLOs in this game, but whatever the case may be. But we see multiple pushes, an east, a middle, and a west here for Team 2. They are coordinating at least to some degree. And now we have the calm of Cocky retreating, calm of Latrot kind of hanging out. The calm here for Favorite has fallen back, whose main base, I don't even know, he probably was at the front line at some point. But this position here to the west, there are more Harbingers appearing all the time, but there's still a greater degree of them here for Team 2. They're trying to do the best. The Obsidians are soaking up a lot of firepower. You can see it takes a lot of shots to deal with them. Harbingers, obviously, in large numbers can deal with that fairly quickly, but it does mean that they can. They're not cannon fodder. I don't consider the Obsidian tanks cannon fodder. They're very much they're bullet sponges. So they're used to soak up a lot of damage. And now another push here. They decide to engage once again. They feel like the numbers are with them. But it does look like the Harbingers are focusing the other Harbingers. Shields come in to try to stave off some incoming fire. The Obsidian's actually getting underneath the shield. They should be targeting the shield, dealing the damage. There's a couple of spearheads in here with their missile launchers that they can fire. They're actually being focused as well. There's a Titan in there as well. But it does look like Luca will have to retreat with the rest that he has. Wasn't the best engage, unfortunately, for him, and he lost a lot of units. The units now, they like want to, and then they don't, and then they want to, and then they don't, and then they want. It's a will they, won't they here for Kaiser Wilhelm, the first of his name, and he will start to fall back, fearing a strat snipe or gunship snipe or whatever the case may be here for Team 1's plan. In terms of Team 1's plan to kill a comm, there is a strat bomber. There's not a whole lot of them. I think that's just the only one I can see for now. ASF building up here in the middle. A couple of Titans here to the east. I don't really see a push to kill a comm. I think they're more going for just holding the Team 2 back, especially this western side. Luca actually pushing forward. He has the shield, just the first one, not the second one, the 25,000 one. But he does have a contingent of Harbingers to assist him, and he has the advanced range. Drop bomber over the top, deals some damage to these units. A lot of flak in the area. Don't see any T3 anti-air, though. But this position will be secured here for Wackle for now. The bomber comes in once again. Will probably, maybe he'll get even one more pass, but that's a lot of flak to fly through. Yep, a lot more hit points. Still above 25%. But there is a monkey down the middle here for Team 1. There's a large contingent of units here for Kaiser Wilhelm the first to deal with that. There's a lot of ASF here for Team 2 as well. Here for Mr. Death. How many does he have currently at 24 minutes? He has 63 versus Pepe's. Let's see, where are they? 43. So Pepe's is short stacking about 20 ASFs. A couple good turns could mitigate that. But if that differential gets any worse here for him, he's going to be hard-pressed to deal with that. To the west, Luca pushing forward. At the same time that Favorite is pushing with his monkey. Doesn't have a lot of assisting units. Has flak. And that's it. Just nothing on the ground. More flak inbound. But it's dealing with a lot of these T1 units. They're spamming up some triads. That's not going to last very long, unfortunately, against that laser. Laser just dealing lots and lots of damage. Focusing the units. Takes out the T3 facility here. So no reinforcements on the front line. Couple of units. Some Percy's being pulled in from the eastern side to help assist. There's high single fire damage here. But against all of these Mantis, it's going to be a hard press to deal with any of that. Titans would be a lot better, and you can see just death by 1,000 cuts. They don't deal a lot of damage individually, but over time they really cut through those Percies. A couple shots open up into the Monkey Lord, I would assume. There's a bunch of Triads that were built up, a couple of pillars as well falling behind the Triads. The Triads, oh, they probably wish they were Ravagers at this point, but they'll take anything that they can get. Take out the Intel installation, take out the mass extractors, take out the shield. Those would be the main aims. Try to go back here to take out the PD. Could take it out and deal with this western base, but there is a Galactic Colossus they now have to worry about. And Team 1's player, a Favorite, probably doesn't want to drop mass, especially with his other Monkey Lord coming in. He wants to probably group up here and take out Kaiser Wilhelm. Kaiser Wilhelm is nearby. He has the gun and T2. He could survive a couple of seconds, but with two of them on the way, he's going to get pincered. Pings go down for him. There's danger, attack, or whatever the case may be, and he has to move quickly. He has Triads being built here to the east side of that base here, but it's not really looking good. The Colossus trying to get in range. You can see, actually, that is the wrong player. Wacko has control, but you can see how close it is. It's trying to intercept as fast as it can. Where are the movement orders? Well, they're being moved constantly over here. The monkeys have crossed the streams, as it would be. You can see the lasers just, slightly cross the those beams. But yeah, Kaiser is trying to retreat. It will get in range. Unfortunately, the main laser opens up. Kaiser turns around, overcharges into the monkey, and will die, knowing that his death was imminent. And now this game drops to a 5v3 in favor of Team 1 at the same time that the eastern side for Kaki is pushing forward. The first monkey will fall due to the Monkey Lord here from Klaus. Klaus wishing that he could have got there sooner, or at least Wilhelm wishing he got there sooner. And the second Monkey Lord will fall. That's a lot of mass for Team 2 to scoop up. In this eastern side, a push tries to occur. There is a bunch of bricks and loyalists and some flak units, some missiles, these rhinos as well. Titans are losing a lot of their shield strength. Team 2 not opting to take out the civilians here, wanting to keep the mass or keep them alive as long as possible. ASF fight over the top here for Team 1 and Team 2. Does look like Pepe's will gain air control because of it. Doesn't look like Team 2's player of Mr. Death was microing them as well as he should have. This ASF will retreat, and that's a huge grab. A lot of ASF died to that. It's not looking good. Where is his SAM sites? Well, now it's almost an airlock. The Strats are moving out, but they get killed off instantly. Strats need to turn around. You're going to get shot out of the sky. Got to move. Doesn't matter. ASF are faster and will kill those Strat off as well. That has got to hurt. Another Strat is built. Probably should have canceled that. That's got to hurt. GG, says Mr. Death. 27 minutes. I wouldn't say GG yet. You lost air. It's not the end of the world. Team 1, unfortunately, can't do a whole lot. It does take a couple minutes to build up a decent amount of gunships. There are 4 of them in tow, but not enough to really push a significant amount. Does look like a pusher to the west did occur here for Luker. Luker trying to use that advantage, that APM advantage, as well as, just only 3 players here for Team 2. We have 0 air, says Mr. Death. The ASFs here for Pepe's is just going to bully Team 2. We do have a SMD built here for Wackel to the west, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one built here in the base here for Klaus. But Wacko is retreating, but he does have a Colossus coming in to assist. There's not enough of these Harbingers to really do a whole lot, and that will force them to fall back. Definitely hurts Team 1 when they have to retreat, when they try to gain so much. It does look like the Colossus that was first built is now being chased by a monkey. A couple of Cerberus are being spammed up here. This is just a mass dump because it's not going after any infrastructure. It's trying to cut all the way back through Team 1's main base, but it will turn around. It was too late. The monkey got a lot of damage in with the assisting units. Aurora, everything is just, it's gonna kill the Colossus, unfortunately, here for Team 2. That's just mass dumping there. Definitely unfortunate. Don't like to see it, but it does happen once in a while. And it's starting to look like Team 1 is starting to look a little bit stronger. Team 2 did get a win here to the east by Klaus. Took all that eastern side of the map pretty much for himself. There is a small fire base here for Pepe's, but any effort to halt this push is being denied. There is a Harbinger and a couple of Aurora to, try to stave off. There are some Percys as well. If these units are sent to the west, they could kill off Cocky. They're going to go after the mass instead. There's not a lot of defenses here. A couple of Team 1 and T2, but not really worth, a whole force. Could have diverted some of the force, but decided to go full bore. They could cut back east and deal with this position as well. Will they? Won't they? Probably won't, because there's a lot of gunships, a lot being 6, and a bunch of units being built up here to the west. And of course PD should be being built in the base here for Cocky. Make sure you stay to deal with that T2 mass extractor. It was upgrading to T3. It gets killed off. That's gotta hurt. The other one gets killed off. That one's also going to hurt. Strap bomber over the top here for Team 2 from Mr. Death. Now, where is this one going? It is going in the back against Team 1. Go after the mass FAF farms. That'd be a good thing to grab. But there is a SAM site nearby. It will deal with this capacitor and another one nearby. That has got to hurt. And all these broadswords and the monkey will open fire. And this force just got wrecked here. They took out the shield. They could go after the E-storage. That'd be a good grab here. They're going after the PD. That's not going to really do anything. This is not really, lasting damage. Okay, it's PD. You can just rebuild it. It's not E-storage. It's not energy. It's not mass. It's not things that cost them continually. It's like, oh, I built PD. I can reclaim it and get the mass from the dead units and then go for it. But Team 1 now exerting their power in the air fully across their front line. Look at all those, patrolling ASF. That is actually that's a decent amount. 120, while Mr. Death has half that. So he is starting to come up in the numbers slowly, but Team 1 could just run them over once again. Team 2 needs to build up more SAM sites. There is a couple of them dotting the map, but they need more and more. Does Team 1 have a plan to end the game? It is 30 minutes. Air grid here for Luker. Not air grid, land grid, not air grid. Usually I see air grids, that's why I default. But secondary air grid, love to see the decentralization of those air grids. Don't see any plans to really end the game. That Monkey Lord to the east. Really nothing. Oh, those are just wall segments and PD. Yeah, I don't really see any effort to end the game. There is a RASCOM facility. Actually, is that a RASCOM? Was that a... Those are combat preset commanders. Those are Rambo comms. That's an interesting move here from... Who's that? That was Favorite. Kind of usually people go for the RASCOMs, but last game I guess definitely pointed out that can't forget about the Rambo preset commanders because they are kind of tanky, to be fair. But the monkey will go in it alone, and as we see, you don't want to do that because in this game, if you're by yourself, you are going to die fairly quickly. They have SAMs and air everywhere, says Mr. Death. Yeah, that's something you got to be worried about. But the crab here for Klaus. Klaus is going to just wreck this monkey's face. He's trying to avoid it as much as possible. But as you can see, it is now in firing range, and thousands of hit points will constantly fall until it is killed off. The crab is pinged, gets killed off fairly quickly once in range. It will probably get a couple of bricks. No, almost does. Had a couple more hit points left to shave off. But another push here down the middle here for Team 1 here from, is that Luker? These are forces from Luker. He's actually moved to the east. This position will fall. There's a couple of Rambo preset commanders here for Team 2 as well. So Team 2 using Rambo comms a lot more than I would think they would, but there's so many Harbingers it really doesn't matter. A couple of Triads and Ravagers are not going to stop this push. Even the Crab would have had a hard time, just because it's a slow... It's not slow firing, but it's more single fire versus a laser that constantly fires. 2 Colossi are en route, as well as assisting Rambo preset commander. Rambo comm says Pepe's. Yeah, there are Rambo, and there are sniper bots as well. Harbingers will have to fall back. They can probably kill off this Rambo, but it really won't matter. One Rambo is not really worth it. It only produces 1 mass a second. It is a mass investment, of course. It's not a whole lot. There is a ambassador over the top dealing some preliminary damage to weaken the shields. The Rambo preset commander's just shields is getting annihilated. 26,000 hit points were just evaporated on that comm. And it does look like Team 2 strategy is going for rapid fire shots. A lot of these comms shoot fairly quickly with the Titans as well. Percy's would be a good counter to the Harbingers. Of course, they deal lots of damage. It does take a while for the reload to occur, but once it does, it fires again. Fairly effective, of course, against monkeys who are decently weak, but you have like a group of, I think is it 15 Percy's can one-shot a monkey? I think it's 12. No, I think, no, maybe it's like, I don't know. I forget what the math is. It's around like 15 to 20 can pretty much one-shot a monkey. But I haven't done the math in a while. I can't remember what the damage is per shot. So I'm fairly decent at doing math in my head. If it's long division, forget it. But if it's usually multiplication, I can probably figure it out. But yeah, long division I cannot do in my head. It's once I get to the decimals, it just my math gets thrown off. So I go for more rounded off numbers versus accurate numbers. But it does look like Team 1 now exerting more power in the land game. They have air control, and the Strat Bombers are en route to something. Where are they going? Let's actually look at them and track, let's say, the middle one. Get a nice little shot of that incoming. They are going for the Rambo preset commanders. They kill one, and then the AoE explosion kills at least another one. They're continuing to go back. What are they going for? It looks like the main base here. Going after the comm. Do they get it? No, they don't. Are there more to assist? ASF fight once again over the top of Team 2's base. Now there's even more SAM sites. That's not a good positioning for Pepe's air. Will give Team 2 a slight advantage. But it does look like the numbers will diminish quite evenly. I think Pepe's will still contain more in the percentage game in terms of how many ASFs are left alive. But they did lose a lot to those SAM sites, of course. And the monkey will pretty much die. A couple of person will shoot some shots. It does look like it's like 13. It's like a little over 1,300, I think. Damage, maybe it's 1,350 per shot. But if that's the case, for is it 45,000? Oh, it's actually more than 20. It's like 30. Well, maybe it's 30. Let's see. Where's a Percy? There's a Percy. Yeah. Let's see the exact damage. We have 1,450. That's what it is. So 1,450. Is there a monkey that is still alive here for Team 1? I mean, somebody is playing Cybran. You should have monkeys all the time. The Crab is going to get annihilated by some Percys and some Aurora and Fervors? Yeah, Fervors. But, man, that's got to hurt. The monkey was... the Crab was fairly weakened already, so it wasn't a huge concern. I wasn't really going to side one way or the other, but I guess Rambo, but combatant preset commanders here for Team 1. They're going to be dropped here. A lot of them here, and they're building a bunch of Gunthers and Gunthers all day to stave off incoming T2 Rambo preset commanders and experimentals. That is a good counter to experimentals because they are slow. A group, or I should say a wing of gunships are on their way to the eastern side of Team 2's base. What are they going for? ASF are called in here for Team 2. ASF priming to defend. Really doesn't look like going to go either way. Mr. Death will know about those gunships now. He should actually see them. They should be in range. Yeah, he sees them. They're in range of the perimeter monitoring station, so not really going to go anywhere there. Might as well follow them back. Nuke says Kaiser Wilhelm. Nuke does finish, and he's going for a Scathus, a Novax as well. So 2 potential game enders here. I mean, in large numbers, they're game enders. And also a Duke. So we have a Duke, a Bomber, and a Novax. in a small area. I have a video about why you shouldn't put everything in one, put all your eggs in one basket, because it doesn't usually go very well. But there is overlapping shields, so that will help assist in that protection game. A lot of ground. Luker's like, I'm going to win with ground. I don't care what happens. I'm just going to win by ground. And I don't even think he's building experimentals. I think he's building just T3 units, with obviously T2 and T1 splattered in there. But the Rambo... is it... Do I have to have another thumbnail with a bunch of SACUs? Because this is... How many is this? This is 16. How many does he have on the field? Okay, so he has almost all of them located in one spot with a huge amount of harbingers. It is the harbinger. I have become the... What is it? What is the harbinger quote? It's like harbinger of death or something. But 3 Colossi, that might do the trick with a bunch of harbingers and other titans and Perseus and the whatnot. That's a lot of Perseus too. So they've just spammed up a shield and a bunch of T2 Cerberus. They're trying to PD creep and artillery creep severely here against Team 2. And they're doing it with Cybran and Aeon Tech. Now, Cybran Tech isn't, the worst. The shields aren't great and the PD isn't great. But the ability to just push forward, Cerberus turrets are falling quite quickly. You can see so much incoming fire. I'm just gonna get a nice little screenshot of all of this nonsense here. We have Perseus being overwhelmed by shields and SACUs and Cerberus, and the UEF are not standing up to this threat. Where are the Colossi? They're still... Actually, they've been moved to the west. There's a fight going on to the east. This fight went Team 1's way. Explosions happening all the time. Airfight still happening. Team 2 still not going to secure air control, but they're going to whittle down Team 1's air nonetheless. And now the bleeding has occurred down the middle here for Team 2. There is a Fat Boy, not a lot. The Gunthers can easily counter that. So they got the Fat Boy has to stay within its little bubble of protection. Can't venture outside. But now the artillery taking out the resourcing options here for Klaus. Team 2 is winning. Actually, sorry, Team 1 is winning the eco game by about 300 so mass. It's kind of flickering here for Team 2. We'll call it 300. But the Fat Boys are in retreat. There's a second one. The Gunthers. Hunt cameras are being built. PD is being spammed up. ASFs are being shot out of the sky. There's a crab on its way. It's not going to get here. It's going to hurt. There is a Duke under construction here for Wackel. Wackel has the shield, should probably move up and help assist. He has the SMD as well. The Harbingers are starting to form these little columns, so it's a lot easier for the artillery to shoot at the incoming threat because they kind of group up. T1 PD isn't very strong in small numbers, but in large numbers it does make a difference. The assisting guns, the secondary guns on those Fat Boys open up because they're close enough. They don't do a lot. But again, anything in large numbers can do a lot of damage, and they will stay off a lot of them. They didn't even pierce the shield necessarily. But all of these combat preset commanders are definitely a threat. Team 2 needs to have an answer to this. This is just going to become a circle of no man's land instead of like a line. It's really a circle because a lot of it's going to be denied here for Team 2. Novak starts to fly over. There is a counter nuke here for Team 2 for Mr. Death. There isn't an SMD in this base, and unless there's an SMD built here for Team 2, which there is. Okay, it's right next to the nuke. Not really the best place for it, but it's better than nothing. But the ASFs come in, and the Colossus won the western side, and they're going to push severely against this huge row of T3 land factories. A lot of them get taken out. There's still a couple more, and now they're still pushing northward. They're actually gotten pretty close to the air grid. That'd be the target. Did something blow up? Okay, just Rascoms. Let's go back. Okay, or combat commanders. But those mass fat farms go down. Another Harbingers come off the line. The T3 air facility, T3 land facility headquarters would be a good grab. Will they turn to shoot it? I don't know. They're constantly being chased by Harbingers and other units. The air grids are starting to fall. The P-Gens starting to hurt. Another shield, another P-Gen goes down. Another P-Gen goes down. Another one will go down here shortly. This one at 4 ranks of infantry gets a 5th rank. A lot more hit points. It's taking a lot of the fire. It will kill the nuke off. Didn't build one, so it's not going to be a huge loss, but still a nuke loss is still a nuke loss. Rascom does go down. The Pepe's commander is nearby, but the Colossus aren't targeting it. Oh, that's going to hurt. The first Colossus goes down. The second one will fall. Will kill. Will they kill off the Novax? Yes, they will. No, they won't. Oh, kill the Novax. What are you doing? Shoot the. What are you doing? Shoot the. Oh, that's disappointing. Oh, it does get it off. Okay. But will it be enough to take out the T3 air headquarters? Rascom might die. Nope, doesn't die. And the facility is still standing. It did cut a huge section of Team 1's infrastructure, but the Duke is almost finished. The Novax and the nuke is gone. Lucascom is alive, but the nuke gets launched here from Team 2, and there is no SMD. Where is it going? I'm assuming it's going here. That's where I would put it. There is no SMD in sight. There's one over here to the east, but I think it's out of view. And I think... Oh, don't go for this. Don't go for this. It's not really worth... Oh, it is going to go for that. Well, a lot of those Rambo commanders are not even nearby. They take out like one, but that's just going to be rebuilt pretty quickly. That's a missed opportunity. They're going to build an SMD fairly quickly. The air grid's going to come back up, and now a Duke is online. But it does look like we have counter artillery already in place here for Team 2. And no, that Duke is not finished yet. Where? I feel like it's coming from somewhere. Maybe that was a missile. But no, the missile, that's out of range. I don't know what it is. But to the east, we had a Colossus here for Team 1. That fell to a lot of T1 bombers. And now these combatant preset commanders are going to fall back due to the overwhelming presence of 1, 2... And there's... Where'd that third Fat Boy go? Maybe it was... it was killed off. There was a fourth one that died too. But the Fat Boy's going to get too close. And chain reaction is starting to occur. It's like a small calm explosion. Don't go after this. Go after this. This is a huger threat. The Fat Boy is under threat. This is a lot of, build power and offensive power as well. The bombs are constantly raining. The air fight occurs once again. The ASFs are targeting the bombers. I don't know if that's a mistake or not, because the ASF for Team 2 is definitely a bigger threat. And now a lot of those ASF for Pepe's will fall. And I think that will give Team 2's player of Mr. Death air control once again. They're still targeting the bombers. They should switch over to the ASFs, at least diminish it. I think they are now. But, yeah, you can just see a large section of those ASFs just get taken out. Now, this Fat Boy is just being pincered by a bunch of Harbingers and Rambo preset commanders. I want to say the correct name of combatant preset, but it's just hard because it is essentially what it is. It's a Rambo without the name, essentially. But you can see another explosion occurs, another one falls, another one falls. The cascade effect is still, taking its toll. 700 hit points left on this one. The guns on the Fat Boy open up. They take out a couple of those Rambo comms, and now there's a couple of Titans too. Actually, some Rambo comms of their own. They'll be dealt with. The gunships will deal with the Fat Boy. I don't know if I think that was a good target to take out because it takes out an experimental. Now going to target the T3 mass extractors. That was probably their only thing they could target, essentially. Now the artillery starts to rain down on Mr. Death's position. Trying to go after the air grid. Actually trying to go after the T3 headquarters itself. Needs more shields, but is getting that up all the time, of course. Looks like there's some spelling. I see an L and an I and an upside down V, or maybe that's an N. But I don't know what that's about. But these ones are just kennels. These are just all kennels. Latrot builds an experimental. It is a Tsar. Team 1 doesn't have air control anymore. Yeah, you could use it. I don't suggest it's the best play. The comm of Favorite is actually up here on the upper plateau with nothing to protect it. That's not going to go well if some strap bombers come in. But maybe he's thinking he'll distract them, maybe. But now we have a crab here to the north with an assisting monkey. And we have reclaiming constantly going on here for Team 2. What's the reclaim look like? Well, Team 1 still leads the reclaim. And in terms of total mass accrued, they are still winning it by about 150,000 mass. So not a game ender's worth, but a decent amount. The SMD, I think, is pinged, or at least saying, hey, maybe you should get a shield up or something, get some PD up, because you have a crab and a monkey with assisting units inbound. But now we have 2 artillery, 1 here from the player of Favorite and 1 here from Pepe. Is building a second one. They're both building a second one, and the Novax was rebuilt fairly quickly, I might add. So now Team 2, they have strat bombers. They have air control for now, but they need to keep it secret. That laser is starting to make its way across the battlefield. Tells me it was just finished. The units here to the west have to fall back to that overwhelming artillery pressure and Rambo comms, of course. They don't want to gauge into that much of a threat. ASS will just charge in. I don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe they're being a distraction for the bombers. I think that's their goal. Can you lag more, please? It's no slideshow yet, says Wackle. Yeah, they've done a lot of work on like making the game a lot more runnable with a lot of ASFs and whatnot, but the bombers have been spotted. The ASFs are given the target. The gunships brought in to actually, they can target the bombers as well. Some damage is better than no damage, but a lot of them do break through the initial shielding effects. Bombs start dropping. They're going after Luker, I think, and they get the comm of Luker. That is the first kill here for Team 2. The rest of those bombers will be taken out. But, oh, that's the wrong button. There we go. But Team 1 finally drops a player. It is their highest rated player. Probably Green Submarines looking on, yes, I have my revenge kind of thing. And it is a full share game. If I haven't mentioned that already, the units did not disappear for Luker. But the Crab will come in. They took out the SMD. Well, actually, they will take out the SMD. A couple more strat bombers come over the top. They don't do a whole lot of damage, but a decent chunk. You know, almost 20,000 hit points. Decent chunk. And the push here to the west, a bunch of Rambo preset commanders are being obliterated by gunships. They don't have any AA support. Definitely, there's some coming in. They should build, like we saw in that one game a couple days ago, should be building those Cougars on the backs of those Fat Boys. There's just so many gunships, I don't think it really matters. ASFs are called in to help assist. One of the Fat Boys will go down. A Colossus versus a Crab. The Crab wins at range, but the Colossus wins by damage. And with assisting broadswords and bombers here from Team 2, will not matter. Percival gets sucked up by that vacuum arm, though. To the west, these Rambos have actually moved around this force here that has now been inherited by, I think, Pepe's. He now controls the whole western side. And they're going to assault this base here against Favorite. The Tsar is positioning itself to kind of start maybe taking out these Rambos if they get close enough. And then he decides to get close enough and will start lasering them down. Still bleeding to the east. A bunch of experimentals have died. Lots of mass for both teams to claim. It is in Team 2's territory. So you need a bunch of engineers to help deal with that. The Rascoms are dying fairly quickly, though. Oh, sorry, Rascoms. The Rambo comms are dying fairly quickly, but this base was taken out. Bunch of artillery as well. The Team 1 starting to lose a lot of infrastructure and PD and the whatnot, but units here from the west from Pepe are trying to cut off the incoming units, and of course all of these Fat Boys. There's 3 of them. Harbingers are starting to get in range. Are they building? Okay, this one's building a Cougar. Okay, 2 of them are building Cougars. Okay, they are building Cougars. Okay, good. And they're trying to take out that Tsar, of course. The Tsar's shield still hasn't fallen. ASS from Team 2 haven't been called in yet. The Fat Boys are on their own now. There's a couple of Cougars left and a couple of Rambos that are still being shot at, but the Tsar's shield is still online. Not really looking good here for Team 2 on the land game. I don't know if they've thrown their Fat Boys away. One of them has fallen. There's only 2 more left. This one's fairly hurt, and the shield's already gone. That's the second one. The shield on the Tsar is still online, and it's now at 4 ranks of veterancy. Close. That's not close to 5. It only needs like 20,000 more mass, but it's not a huge amount of mass. It's already killed 92,000, which I don't see a lot of Tsars killing 92,000 mass, so good for that Tsar. A couple of Harbinger and a Titan deal. Will they take out this T3 Max? No, not enough damage. Not quick enough. The secondary air grid here for Pepe's has pretty much fallen. 1 Duke, of course, is alive. There is now 2 disruptors here for Team 1's player of Favorite. They have 3 artillery versus, I think, 2. Unless one of them's been taken out. There's 1 here. and they're constantly trying to, hold the shields online as much as they can. They're trying to produce as many ASF as they can. Some of the air grid has fallen, not all of it, and I think it's only the one disruptor. There is the nuke. There's a couple of anti-nukes here for Whackle, but it's not really looking good for him. Shields are constantly falling, though. Zars are being built as well. At least they've been started to be built. The Zar to the east is just hampering any movement. These Monkey and Colossus can't get anywhere close to that front line. The ASF are called in. Will they take out the Zar? There's not a lot of AA support. I heard explosions. It is another Rambo preset commander, but the Zar does fall fairly quickly, and that, of course, is the disadvantage, everyone, of building a Zar. Is once the shield is gone, that Zar gets taken out fairly quickly. Heavy shield is built here for Latrop, trying to protect his comm the best he can, and 3 of the comms reside fairly close together for Team 1. The other comm, not even in his own base. He's in the base over here. So we have Pepe's over here to the east, not under shield coverage, just kind of hanging out next to the emissary being built. And then over to the west, we have Favorite, not even in his own base. Granted, there's only one shield assisted by Hives, but I think the Hives are outperforming. I think it's the Kennels and Drones. The Harbingers right next to the Fat Boy, not wanting to target the Fat Boy for some reason, but will constantly be taken out. You can see they could kill it very quickly, but even a Harbinger gets underneath the shields. The secondary guns on those Fat Boys are not to be trifled with. They fire fairly quickly, reload fairly quickly, deal a decent chunk of damage. But the constant artillery pressure here, they're assisting only one shield, and of course they can't rep the shield up until a percentage has been dealt. It's pretty much they have to wait for damage to happen, and then they can rep it up versus just constantly repping it up. But, having 3 artillery plus an emissary almost done, plus a Duke, actually 2 Dukes, one almost severely, one severely damaged. And the Novax, I mean, Team 1 is sitting pretty with its experimentals, sitting pretty with its, what do you call it? Sitting pretty with all of its, artillery and game enders, but that's a good position, right? Oh no, that's a better one. There we go. Trying to get a nice position with all the Arty and the stuff in the shot. Nice good shot. Seeing the artillery shoot as I take a little screenshot there. It's kind of nice to get up and close once in a while and look at what the structures look like and talk about design and all that stuff. And sometimes that might take away from maybe a point of action or two, but I do like to point out that the units in this game look very good. I'd say 95% of them I like the designs for. I'm trying to think of one that I don't like one. The issue doesn't look too bad. It just looks a little weird. Not a little weird. It's just looks like a walking T. But the comm of Wacko gets killed off. Actually, he just control K's thinking the game is over. No SMD, says Luca, question mark. Klaus control Ks. Now it's all just Mr. Death by his lonesome. 2 comms have decided to GG. Mr. Death throws out the GGs. He feels like this game is probably over. Yep, there goes the explosion. And it does look like Mr. Death will control K as well. I mean, given the fact that your opponent had 3 disruptors, an emissary, and 2 Dukes, that's 6 artillery plus a Novax plus a nuke that was almost done. Plus another one that was being built as we speak. Yeah, because Team 2 could not crack this shield emplacement with the Arty, it didn't matter. And they started to lose the game on the west-hand side. I mean, the game was a lot of back and forth. The departure of Green Submarine definitely hurt, of course. Team 1 did not win by a flawless victory, though. They did lose Luker, so I can't award them that award for this game, but they did a very good job. In terms of MVP, let's see. Pepe's recovered after that huge push from these Colossus and was able to not really win it for his team, but he got air control and he kept it for a long while, and that allowed them to push heavily with gunships, and they even built the Tsar, but they built the Tsar after they lost air control, so But it was a very good game, I will admit, and I appreciate everybody watching to the end of my video. So in terms of MVP, I'll probably give it to Pepe's overall. I feel like, of course, he wasn't microing his ASF like he should, taking and focusing on the bombers versus the actual ASF here for Team 2, which, yeah, the T1 bombers, they could have easily rebuilt them. That's not a huge issue. And yeah, maybe you could have killed one fat boy, but one fat boy isn't gonna really make or break your game at this point. At that point, but I think overall, Pepe's did a very good job. He took over the land game from Luca once he died, and actually pushed a decent amount here to the west, and it was starting to come eastward. That's pretty much what signaled Wacko to control K, and then once he controlled K, Klaus control Cade, and then obviously Mr. Death followed as well because he couldn't micro all of that. And then we have the push to the east here as well from Kaki. So again, I think I award it to Pepe's. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please like and comment down below what your favorite moment was. And if you haven't hit that red button, please do so. I greatly appreciate it. It lets me know I'm doing something right. And I appreciate all the comments telling me, do better. Do better, strategic launch. Do it. I'm like, okay, I'll do better. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you wonderful people in the next one.